I'm sure you've talked to clients who said, Mr. Polonsky, I got this letter in the mail. You know, what do I do? I mean, it sounds like Darlene might need some legal help because she's obviously going to have to respond to the administration.
Well, there are a couple of ways to deal with it. One is fraud is not what we're talking about in those situations.
All right.
People were overpaid. Maybe they will have to pay it back. Maybe they won't have to pay it back. The Social Security has provisions where they wouldn't have to pay it back, where they are without fault in connection with the overpayment, and the repayment would be a hardship for them to do it. What is without fault, as the judge was alluding to? Did they know or should they have known that the benefits they were receiving were improper?
Right.
If it is reasonable for them to have believed that the benefits they were receiving were proper, they were getting them as they were supposed to, and it would be a hardship to pay it back, they may not have to pay it back.
Do they cobble together that argument themselves, or do they consult with an attorney?
They consult with an attorney.
Yeah,
Sometimes
but you know
they have
what? They
representation.
feel it in their heart. They know it in their subconscious. So while they can't articulate it, they know there's something wrong with what just happened to me.
Yeah.
And that's the issue, and that's why that should motivate them immediately to go to see an attorney, because they can't articulate it
I'm never
in the
going to
right
say
way.
to you that there aren't people in the world who collect benefits that they know perfectly well they're not entitled to. Some of the people in the piece that started the show, where they're working and they've been working for years and they've been hiding it, or they put money in other people's names to do all sorts of things. I have no doubt that there are people who do that.
Right.
But the numbers of people that do that are not nearly what are being bandied about.
Right. So, but the first example would be fraud, or could be fraud.
If you knew if you knew positively that the benefits you were receiving were improper, and you failed to disclose that fact to the Social Security Administration, that's fraud. That's criminal fraud, and I've seen people be charged with criminal fraud in those circumstances.
Oh, actually criminal?
Yes.
Yes.
Wow.
And
okay.
actually, also, if you had a higher level of knowledge, or some kind of could be presumed to have some kind of level of responsibility, which would lead you to be held to a higher standard, that would go hard against you in addressing the issue of fraud, I think. But most people aren't in that position. Most people are Joe the plumber, so to speak, who's been out there in a craftsman job and doesn't know anything about paperwork and presumptions of guilt and innocence, and they see the money coming in, and that's what they're interested in.